Cool. What inspires you for your personal concepts for illustration?
Hmm. I would say more than one thing, but I think emotions will be a big
Mm,
one for me. Emotions, nature. I'm just fascinated with nature. Um, uh, Sometimes it's like the smallest things. So like if I were to think about a memory I had, normally I don't know if this happens to you, but what sticks to me from a particular memory is something really small,
mm,
and then I want to draw that. It's almost like I want to keep that memory alive through that way, but then I make it about something completely different, which is a really interesting approach. But yeah, I would say emotions, nature, and color. I'm really fascinated with color.
mm,
That inspires me a lot. Like I think that's one of the reasons why I really like fashion is I could be looking at something and the color combination of something inspired me to think about a certain element. And then it's like I want to think about, oh, how it would look on a composition. And if I make it into something literal, what could it be? So
mm,
that's one approach that I've been on that train lately. Yeah, those three things probably.
mm.
But emotions, it's interesting because anytime I go back to my personal projects, I could tell personally what I was going through.
Mm,
But it's not really obvious, at least I don't think from an average perception. I don't think it's very obvious, but I could almost tell, like, if I was in a very chaotic time, my
mm,
art would be more chaotic, or like you could tell, like, I even think about, like, I would use the way I would use like ink or color would be very like saturated and harsh, and there's so much more of a emotion behind it, and then you could tell that I go through a different phase, particularly lately, which is all about like softer textures and nothing super defined and colors, and so it's, yeah, I always think I'm attached to a mood. I'm a very moody person. So yeah, I bring that in my personal illustrations for sure.
Um, that kind of reminds me, similar to music, how you can listen to a particular song that you heard when you were a kid, and I could smell the dinner my mother used to make back every Sunday, and it just brings that
Yeah.
emotion out of you, you know. And quick question: has your art changed since you became a mother?
Yeah, I did. I did big time. It's weird though, because for me, I went to school when my daughter was really young, right?
Mm,
So I feel like at school really, I wouldn't say it changed me, but it directed me into my inner skills, if you want to call
mm,
them that, or my inner voice is actually more accurate. And then as I went into the work environment, and yeah, actually, yeah, because as she's growing, it also makes me think about other things, and I react to that and I create for that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would say if my daughter has changed my like artwork.
or maybe the emotion that it
Yeah,
brings behind it, you know?
yeah, the emotion. Yeah, that's true. Because it's also what I did realize after having my daughter. It's even the concepts that I think about are a little bit bigger.
Mm,
Um, Almost from like a bigger perspective. It's like having a kid just makes you think about yourself in a bigger way.
hmm
And I think through that process, your emotions also become this. Oh, this feels like therapy. But what I was gonna say when you brought up my daughter, it is interesting because it's almost like raising her
mm,
makes me realize about emotions about me as a child.
mm,
And I think those emotions as a child, they're so strong on everything I do for illustrations. Like if you take a look at like some of it can be really like gentle and more adult per se, but then some of it is very kid-like, and I feel like that part of me is very alive. And raising my daughter, especially now she's at a different stage, it brings out, it's almost like kind of what you were talking about, the memories. It makes me think of my memories when I was a child.